Great interviews don't just happen. They take a little planning. And whether you're the host or the guest, your setup can make or break the whole conversation. Let's talk about it. Both sides of the interview can bring their A game, do the best with what they have on hand to help this interview shine. It's a team effort, y'all. For my hosts, I want you to provide a clear checklist to prepare your guests because as the host, you are the one having this party. You want to make sure your guest has everything they need to know to show up to the party correct. This checklist can cover the tech setup, right? Microphone, camera, lighting, because they might not know these things. Background and dress code recommendations because they might not know what to even do with the room or what to wear. Is this a more formal thing? Is this real casual? And also clue them into the interview format. Is this live? Is it recorded? Is it an hour? Is it 10 minutes? And giving them a few key topics will help them feel better and feel more prepared going into your interview. Just know a little prep makes a big difference. So send your checklist at least 48 hours before so they can integrate things and they can make choices and they can do the best to show up right to your party. Now, when you're briefing your guests on the format of your show, letting them know if it's live or pre-recorded can make a big difference. Some people are not ready for live because they're afraid of what they might say if they're not used to that life. But letting them know ahead of time will help them get mentally prepared. You can share a rough outline of the questions or topics. I don't like to necessarily share the questions, but I will share topics. I don't like to overscript because I want the interview to be a conversation. And giving them a briefing ahead of time can help them give you a clue into what might be good topics to talk about or even give you any supplemental materials like photos or videos. When I'm doing my pre-show prep with a guest, I can show the guest in Ecamm exactly the different scenes that we're going to be working with. So they're not surprised when something changes. They can stay in the interview without being wowed by my beautiful scene design. And some people are really delighted by seeing the production process because this might not be their world. And in this pre-show briefing, I like to offer a tech check. I never assume that they know what they're doing or know what might be good or bad. Doing a check with them beforehand as the host, it is your responsibility to make sure their audio, video, and their connection is going to work for your production. And this also helps avoid last-minute issues. It doesn't need to take that long. Couple of minutes beforehand, could be 5 minutes. I like 15 because also sometimes there's like a little chit chat, just a warm up, like a, hey, how's you doing? What's your day going? A little humanity before the interview. And then it gives us some time to fix things if we need to. Now for my guests, the success of the interview is not completely reliant on the host. There are things that the guests can do to help it be a success. When you're booked on an interview, usually there's an intake of some kind that asks for maybe your headshot or any additional media that might be helpful. I mean, if the host knows what they're doing, they have this intake form. Having a media kit ready that could be like generic for any interview is really nice to have on hand. So you're not having to scramble for it every time you get called onto an interview because you're going to be on tons of interviews because you're amazing and you have a message to share and everybody deserves to hear from you. Yes. In this media kit, have yourself a short bio, something that you would not cringe if they read it word for word in the interview, because I've had that happen. I gave a longer bio to give some information, give some context, and they just read the whole thing. And I was just kind of mortified because it was way too long for that. So a short bio that you wouldn't mind if somebody read is the way that I go with it now. A high quality headshot, something that you're okay with people seeing because they're going to use this picture to promote the interview. And any relevant links or key talking points is always helpful to get people started to help the host do their research on you. You just give them a little hint. Here's some stuff, some materials for you to look at right away. And a media kit shows that you take your interview seriously. It matters. It matters to you. Even if you are a guest, I want you to test your tech setup in advance. Check your internet connection because sometimes the Wi-Fi is not strong enough, so you need to go get yourself to a wired situation if you can. And make sure you are in clear lighting. Do not be scrambling to find the lighting 2 minutes before you jump on your call. And if you're using Ecamm, you can see exactly what your footage is going to look like. You can test what it's going to sound like. You can record and actually see what you will look like in the interview, which is going to help you feel more confident in your interview because you're not worried about how it looks or sounds. You just get to shine. Now, guests, I'm telling you that hosts who are producing digital interviews are doing a lot of other things. So if you booked a time to do this interview, show up and show up ready. Being late can throw off the whole flow because there's a lot of moving parts. And you showing up is something that the host does not have control of. That's you. And when it's time to start the interview, be engaging, be natural, be fabulous, and be ready to have a conversation. Remember, it's not a monologue, it's not a script, not talking points, a conversation. Listen actively and avoid one-word answers. Like the worst, if you're like, so how are things? Good. Give your host something to work off of. All right, questions for both hosts and guests. As a host, what's one thing you wish your guests would do better? As a guest, what is something you wished more of from the hosts? Let's compare notes in the comments. This could be juicy and useful for everyone, so don't be shy. Leave the comment. Virtual interviews work best when both the host and the guest come prepared because there are so many things to think about on both sides of a digital interview. We've got so many tech things to worry about. There's the life thing to worry about. There's the personal thing to worry about. There's the what am I going to say about it all? If you both prepare, it's going to be amazing. And a little bit of effort can go a long way to make sure everybody shines. And of course, if you want your interviews to look next level, Ecamm is the way to go so you can create polished, professional experience as a host or as a guest or just by yourself. See you in the next one.